welcome to Donington Park on this beautiful autumn afternoon, and on the full Grand Prix circuit layout here at Donington Park, presented by the BARC, the British Automobile Racing Club. It is great to be here at Donington this weekend. Championships are going to be decided across the course of this weekend's racing. Dave Goddard here taking you through the action in a sunny and quite windy day here at Donington Park, and in just a few minutes time we will have the cars on the grid for our first race of the weekend. And good luck to James Ibbotson, who does indeed take pole position in his Hillman Imp, the Class E runner. He's got to rely on misfortune for Luke Wilson, though, if he's going to take his second consecutive overall championship. He's already wrapped up, as we heard, the Class E title. The Hillman Imp on pole, and he was on pole by a huge margin of 5.5 seconds in the qualifying session this morning, largely thanks to his tyre choice. He starts alongside Billy Keneally in his Class C Ford Anglia. Second row is number 111 Guy Connew. He's in a Jaguar Mark 1. First time we've seen one of those in this series for many years, alongside number 25 Barry Syme, the Scotsman, in his Mini, set to wrap up the Class C title. He just needs a couple of points to overhaul Kevin Swan, who's not racing today. Row 3, number 24, the first of the Lotus Cortinas, is Ben Truslove, alongside 37 Robert Gray in his Ford Mustang, running in the Invitation class. Row 4, number 223 Gary Townsend with his new Lotus Cortina, alongside 56 Michael Sheraton. A warm welcome back to him in his Ford Anglia. Row 5, Nigel Cox, number 47, with a Lotus Cortina, alongside the Hillman Imp of number 22, Michael Loveland. Row 6, 73 Robin Slater. He switched from an Anglia to a Lotus Cortina, alongside number 17 James Burrows in his Mini. Row 7, Piers Grange in his Ford Mustang. Now, he could win the Class A title here today. He's only 4 points behind Alan Greenall, the Ford Falcon driver, not out this weekend. So Piers Grange looking to win the Class A title. He starts alongside Jake Swan in his Ford Anglia. Row 8, number 26. Now, I believe that car is being handled by Brian Bedford in this first race, and Steve Evans will drive in the race tomorrow. So they've swapped over. Brian Bedford in the Austin A40 alongside Nathan Beresford's BMW 1800 Ti. Row 9 is the champion-elect Luke Wilson, second on the grid in his Class D in the Austin A40, alongside 68 Keith Wright in his Morris Minor. The penultimate row of the grid, number 83, Tim Dodwell, one of British Club Racing's ultimate unsung heroes, in a Mini he's owned since it was new back in the 60s. Drives it on the road to the events as well. Starts alongside Michael Foley, number 6, in a Lotus Cortina. And the final row is the Cortina GT of Paul Cooper, running in Class C, alongside number 515. No, it's not Frankie Wainman, it's Simon Knight in his Hillman Imp. So we've lost Keith Wright, unfortunately, in the Morris Minor. We don't have Robert Gray's Mustang. I think everybody else is there, so I think we've got a 20-car grid for this first race of the weekend here at Donington Park with the British Automobile Racing Club. Simon Knight moves his Imp into line. The green flag is waved by the marshal at the back of the field, waiting for the red lights to come on. When they go out, we'll be racing here at Donington Park with the Pultec Pre-66 touring cars. Red lights are on the gantry. Revs are up, and away we go. And the first race of the weekend gets underway. A super start by James Ibbotson. Good start by Guy Connew at the wheel of the Jaguar, trying to get down the inside of Billy Keneally. Piers Grange is boxed in the midfield. Watch for the Mustang starting to come through, using the power down the straights. Keith Wright, that's good to see, is joining in from the back of the field, from the pit lane in the Morris Minor. Everybody appears to be round the first turn okay, and it is James Ibbotson who leads. Keneally into second place. The Jag has dropped back to fourth. Barry Syme coming through into third place in the Mini, so it's small cars to the fore as they head down the Craner curves, then onto the brakes into the right-hander, into the old hairpin. Barry Syme throws the Mini through on the inside, up into second position. That will put him into the lead of the class as well, ahead of Billy Keneally. Everybody else coming through okay behind. There's the Ford Cortina GT of Paul Cooper, the retired chartered surveyor from Yorkshire, and the Mustang's pulling off. Piers Grange is out. Well, an early casualty there. He had engine problems and failed to race at Snetterton in the last round as well, so Class A's not over yet. Robin Slater sideways in the Cortina, coming out of McLean's corner. A lively start then for these Pultec Pre-66 touring cars. The leaders going up towards Coppice. Here they come out of the corner and along the exhibition straights. It's James Ibbotson who leads the way. Billy Keneally side by side with Barry Syme for second place. Mini against Anglia. It's like the old days of Sir John Whitmore against John Fitzpatrick in what was then the British Saloon Car Championship. They disappear from view momentarily as they head down the straights towards the Melbourne Loop, and it is James Ibbotson in the Imp that leads the way. Bill McGovern was the master in Hillman Imps in the late 1960s, early 70s in the British Saloon Car Championship. Second place it is Barry Syme in the Mini. Trying to fight back is the ex-Robin Slater Anglia in the hands of Billy Keneally, but the Lotus Cortina has now come through into third place. The Jag has dropped back to fifth. Lifting a wheel there, Barry Syme through Goddard's corner for the first time as he chases Ibbotson for the lead. Barry Syme has had one overall win this year at Brands Hatch in the wet. Can he take a win in the dry? Gary Townsend is up into third place. Began his career on the short ovals, the ex-Brisker F1 racer, as Barry Syme up the inside. Number 73 of Robin Slater, loving the Lotus registration plates on that car, as up the inside for second place goes Gary Townsend, former class champion in the Mazda MX-5 Super Cup in recent seasons. Runs a large vehicle hire company. Through into third goes Billy Keneally, so James Ibbotson's been shuffled back to fourth position. Leaders just going through in the foreground there. They come through Goddard's corner. The gap is definitely coming down. Gary Townsend has got the gap down to half a second now. The power of the Cortina telling as the circuit dries out further. Barry Syme looking for his second overall win of the season in that Scottish Blue Mini. Jimmy has raced that car as well. They've owned this car for many years. They've raced it together at Goodwood as well, in a number of the special historic touring car events. But look at the way Gary Townsend is going. He wants a win on his debut in the series. Down the Craner curves, he's all over the back of the Mini. Barry Syme dancing the Mini down the Craners as only a Mini racer can. He throws it through the old hairpin. Spectacular to watch. James Ibbotson. Oh, the Jaguar's had a problem. That's the squeal of tyres we heard. It's at the Melbourne Loop. Now, has he made contact there with Nigel Cox's Cortina? We didn't quite see. Delayed in there, Robin Slater's Cortina. James Burrow's Mini just gets through on the inside. Bad news for the Jag. He's still going, Guy Connew, but he's down to 10th place. Here come your leaders. They're coming up on Keith Wright. Of course, he joined in from the pit lane after problems on the green flag lap, and very late on the brakes there, Gary Townsend. Is he going to go straight on? Oh, he's just about got the move done there. We'll see if they're still side by side as they come out of the chicane in a second. My goodness, that was a dicey moment for Gary Townsend, but I think, has he got the move done? No, they're still side by side over the top into the Melbourne Loop, and Barry Syme back up the inside, retakes the lead. Terrific fight between these two. He's got to try and get into the toe behind the Mini and slipstream him down the straights here, Gary Townsend. He was very, very late on the brakes. I thought he was going to go straight on into the tyre wall as they came up towards the Fogarty S's, now towards Goddard. Here they come, still side by side. Surely the Cortina's going to get the run on him now. 3 minutes of the race to go. And a couple more laps to go. They're side by side at the line by 700ths of a second, and Townsend leads. Round the outside, down the Tom Wheatcroft straights. Barry Syme down to second place. It doesn't matter in terms of the classic points because they're in different classes, these two. So Barry Syme is heading for his class championship, but Gary Townsend into the overall lead. Down the Craner curves. Syme trying to fight back. Is he going to throw the Mini up the inside here? He's trying. Look at this. Syme up the inside, he's done it. Oh, fantastic from Barry Syme. That is how you drive a Mini here at Donington Park, and Townsend's coming back at him. This is unusually fierce for the opening race of a weekend. Here comes Townsend to the inside as they get towards McLean's corner. Plenty going on further back in the field, but this is such an absorbing battle up front. Townsend has got the Cortina back ahead. Up the hill they go towards McLean's, through Schwantz curve, then on the brakes for the right-hander. Barry Syme gets the tighter line through there. Townsend's gone a bit wide over the curve, but he gets his foot down and holds his lead. Here they go towards Coppice corner. Mini dancing around on the inside. He's got the better exit again. Look at this from Barry Syme. He's not finished yet. He wants that overall win. They're side by side on the run down the straight, but again, Gary Townsend keeps his foot down, uses the power of the Cortina down towards the Fogarty S's for the last time, and Syme's diving for the inside. Look at this up the inside. Oh, absolutely on the lock stops through there. And who's going to come out with the lead? Syme diving through. They just disappear momentarily behind the tyre wall, and it's Syme that's come out in the lead. Now, can he defend it? He's got the two effectively hairpins to go, the Melbourne Loop and Goddard's. What a terrific race between these two. What can Townsend do on the final corner? Up the rise towards Goddard's. Syme in the Mini. Townsend, the man from Rugby in Warwickshire, in the Lotus Cortina, is having a look on the inside there. Can he draw alongside on the run to the line? I think Syme has done enough. What a magnificent drive by Barry Syme. He takes the checkered flag, punches the air as he crosses the line. That's a terrific drive by Barry Syme. Gary Townsend comes over in second place, and we await our third place man to come through, which should be James Ibbotson in his Hillman Imp. Have a look further back as well to see where Luke Wilson has finished. If he wins the class here, that will pretty much wrap him up the overall championship. There's the number 24 Ben Truslove back in 5th position. James Burrows is 6th in the Mini. James Ibbotson is going to take 3rd place. There he is in the Imp, the reigning champion. He completes the overall podium. Couldn't quite keep up with the more powerful cars in the drier conditions. Barry Syme acknowledges the marshals and the spectators. That is a superb drive and a daring move into the Fogarty S's there to take the win. Provisional result then as follows. Barry Syme the winner by 0.6 of a second after a stirring battle with Gary Townsend. James Ibbotson wins his class as well in 3rd place. Ben Truslove 4th in his Lotus Cortina ahead of James Burrows, Robin Slater, Michael Loveland. Guy Connew wins Class A in 8th overall. Nathan Beresford wins Class B in 9th. And Michael Foley completes the top 10. Luke Wilson defeats Brian Bedford and puts himself in position to secure the championship. Then Paul Cooper is next. A lap down Keith Wright after starting from the pit lane, and Simon Knight completing the top 15. The other finisher was Tim Dodwell. We lost Billy Keneally, Nigel Cox after 6 and 5 laps respectively, and Michael Sheraton, Piers Grange sadly didn't complete the first lap. Jake Swan I don't think started after we saw a cloud of smoke from his car on the green flag lap. We can go down to Parc Fermé with Ewan Dunlop, and he'll talk to a probably very happy indeed Barry Syme.
Right, let's go and speak to Barry Syme. And what a sensational race. Oh, getting a little kiss here. There we go. You're not getting a kiss off me, Barry. Just a well done, sir.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. The qualifying didn't go quite the way we expected it. James had a fantastic run, and but yeah, the race, it was start went fantastically well. Obviously Gary came up and was giving me a good fight. Car was a bit faster as you'd expect in the straights, but we made him work for it, and like I say, I thought it was probably the last lap looking at the timer, so I thought probably the chicane was my best opportunity, and I took it, and but good clean race.
You called it a great race. It was a sensational race. We only really focused on you for the second half of the race. It was absolutely brilliant. What was it like to be involved in?
Oh, amazing when the classic touring car championship run a great series. We've had some good results this year with you, and this is just almost icing on the cake. So one more to go tomorrow. But big thanks to everyone who makes it happen. Dad does a lot of the preparation, JJ and Jim and everything, and Swift Tune providing a good engine as well as ever. So all helps. And
I think that's a class championship as well.
I believe it is. I'm sure Dave will have done all the calculations, but I think it is. So it's fantastic. We've only done 3 meetings this year, so need to do some more next year.
Thanks very much. No time to catch my breath then, because the next race is already on its way round for its rolling starts. The combined grid for the Edmondson Electrical Classic Thunder Saloons and the Blue Oval Saloon Series, sponsored by Burton Power for everything Ford. Front row of the grid, we should see Jason Davies in his Sierra Cosworth alongside Kirk Armitage in his BMW, but Jason Davies' car I saw smoking in qualifying, so we'll have to wait and see if he's there. Second row, 97 Andy Wilson, he's in a Holden Monaro alongside number 4 James Everard. Row 3, 96 Ian Craig BMW, 17 Simon Light in his Ford Capri. Fourth row, 123 AJ Owen, he's in a Honda Civic alongside 101 Malcolm Harding, first of the Blue Oval cars in his Escort. Row 5, Paul Hand, number 69, he's in an Audi TT alongside number 90 Ian Bowers BMW. Row 6, Nick Vaughan, 66 in his very modified Audi A3. Number 20 Sam Wilson with his Aston Martin. Row 7, we heard from Abby Eaton earlier on in her father Paul's Holden alongside number 7 Robert Salisbury in his Super Touring Honda Accord. Row 8, 31 Ashley Shelswell with a very modified Ford Sierra. Chris Brown, number 12 with his Fiesta. Row 9, Martin Reynolds, number 27. Which of his fleet is he? I think he's in his Escort Mark II this weekend alongside James Dunkley, title contender in the Blue Oval Saloon Series with his Fiesta. the 10th row, we've got Dave Griffin's BMW, Neil Philpott's in the Mitsubishi Starion, Clinton Sharma's BMW is next alongside Tom Abbott's Capri, Neil Hargrave's Escort, Tommy Grouts at number 129 is alongside him in a BMW, David Jefferson at number 128 in another BMW M3 alongside number 2 Sam Daffin with the Ford Fiesta, Craig Owen in his Sierra Cosworth alongside the similar machine of Mike Manning, Will Hunt in a Fiesta alongside number 75 Michael Rudge in another Fiesta, Vic Hope in his Honda Civic 151 alongside Adrian H. Harvey in his Ford Escort. I think it might be his son Tom driving that car actually in this race. And at the back of the grid, hopefully we'll see the gorgeous new BMW Alpina 635 of Howard Spooner after he had his practice times disallowed. Well, Jason Davies is not there, so it's Kirk Armitage in the BMW alone on the front row, and that massive Holden Monaro of Yorkshireman Andy Wilson as we get ready for thunder as we get underway at Donington Park. 15 minutes of racing. Oh, blimey, we've got a tangle there already. That's the Super Touring Honda of Rob Salisbury, the ex-Paula Cook car. There's a big lock up there from Craig Owen, who nearly goes into the back of a BMW as he avoids that. Chris Brown it was who tangled with Rob Salisbury, and the Super Touring Honda is wrecked. That's a great shame, the ex-Paula Cook Accord. Well, meanwhile, it is Andy Wilson in the Monaro that leads the way. They come down the hill towards the old hairpin ahead of Kirk Armitage, but I think the race is going to be stopped. Yes, the red flag is out. That's a great shame. Look at the state of Rob Salisbury's Honda Accord. That is such a disappointment. One of our Super Touring cars here this weekend. We'll see it again. He moved across there to the outside, didn't see Chris Brown, and wallop straight into the pit wall. Chris Brown's Cosworth-powered Fiesta involved as well. And then further back, one of the BMWs slowed, and yes, Craig Owen in the Sierra Cosworth. It looks like he went into the back of that BMW that was very slow away there. Whether that BMW was just avoiding the carnage ahead of him. I think it's the 128 car of David Jefferson. Well, the red lights are on. Take two with Classic Thunder and Blue Oval Saloons. The lights go out and they're away. Start by Simon Light down the outside in the Capri, but it's Andy Wilson in the big Holden using the power of his huge 7-litre V8 engine who takes up the lead. Second place Kirk Armitage, Malcolm Harding moving through on the inside of the third, and look in the pit lane, there's James Everard. He's been able to join from the pits and he's going to start from the rear of the field. Down the Craner curves they go, and look at the lead. Wilson has got already. Malcolm Harding up into second place, the leader of the Blue Oval Saloons, looking for the title here this weekend. Kirk Armitage goes down to third, then it's Simon Light, Ian Craig, AJ Owen, and Ashley Shelswell in the Mustang engine Sierra. There's Neil Philpotts in that extraordinary Mitsubishi Starion, the only one of its kind racing in the UK these days, I believe. Chased by one of the BMWs. It's Holden, Ford, BMW, Ford, BMW at the front of the field. Kirk Armitage trying to get up into second place, but I think we're going to see Andy Wilson, the man from Doncaster, run away with this in the huge Holden. Malcolm Harding looking for Blue Oval Saloon success. We've got to watch for James Dunkley in his class as well, in his Ford Fiesta, because he's in with a chance of the title. He's only 5 points off Malcolm Harding in the overall points. Into the chicane they go for the first time. Shelswell is well up in the Sierra. It's Wilson who leads the way. They come down towards the Melbourne hairpin for the first time. Kirk Armitage on the inside defending from Simon Light, attacking at the same time at the inside on Malcolm Harding. Through into second goes the BMW. It won't bother Malcolm Harding too much. They're not only in different classes, they're in different championships. Two Audis battling it out, Paul Hand and Nick Vaughan. Abby Eaton behind them in the Holden Commodore. Over the line they go. Wilson, Armitage, Harding, Lights, Shelswell up to fifth in the Sierra. Gained 9 places on that opening lap alone. Watch him go after the leaders. Ian Craig is next, then AJ Owen. Then we've got Sam Wilson in the Aston Martin, 8th place. No relation to Andy, incidentally. Ian Bauer and Paul Hand round out the top 10. Martin Reynolds has gained places too. 5 places up on the opening lap. Simon Light giving chase to Malcolm Harding. On board with Malcolm as we head down the exhibition straights. Over 100 miles an hour they get up to down towards the chicane, and he waves Simon Light through. Simon is a classic Thunder racer. More powerful Ford Capri goes through. 50 miles an hour through the chicane and down towards the Melbourne Loop. We ride with Malcolm Harding, championship contender in the BARC Power Blue Oval Saloon Series. Down the gearbox he goes through the 180-degree right-handed hairpin. The only thing he'll be worrying about is where his rivals in the Boss Series are. Is James Dunkley leading his class? Yes, he was at the end of the previous lap, leading Class D. Into Goddard's third gear, 30 miles an hour. There go the leaders. Wilson, Armitage, Simon Light up to third. Good to have the Capri back out, spitting flames there as it comes into Redgate. Chance to keep in front of his class. On board with Harding in our inset there as the leaders head down the straights. Light pulls up alongside Armitage. There is Harding in fourth place. Shelswell is fifth. Now, Ashley Shelswell is in the same class as Harding and he's closing on. The last thing Malcolm Harding wants is to drop places and points in his class, because that'll allow James Dunkley, if he's leading his class, to close in the championship. Behind Craig, it's Abby Eaton, the W Series competitor, among many other achievements in her fantastic career. Shelswell a bit wide there, coming out of McLean's. Here comes the Aston. And the big beast thunders through on the inside. Up towards Goddard for the final time. Back markers go through to start their final lap. And here comes our race winner. The man from Doncaster, Andy Wilson, comes in for victory in the Edmondson Electrical Classic Thunder Saloon. Simon Light, a brilliant second in the Capri, 2.5 seconds back. Kirk Armitage, the man from the northeast, takes third place in the BMW. All three of them win their classes. Classes A, H1 and B. And next home we should see Malcolm Harding as Ian Craig just tackling the back-marking Vic Hope in his Honda Civic. Mike Rudge comes across the line a lap down in the Fiesta. Here comes Sam Wilson, and there's Philpott up into fifth place. So Malcolm Harding, in fact, has dropped to sixth on the final lap. Philpott's coming through for fifth. Harding wins the Blue Oval Saloons in sixth, ahead of Ashley Shelswell by 2 seconds. Then it's Craig. Abby Eaton comes over in ninth in the Holden, and AJ Owen, that could be crucial, a class win in the Honda Civic. Side by side between Nick Vaughan and Mike Manning over the line. England v Wales. Who got the verdict there? By 1/10 of a second, it's Mike Manning. James Everard from the pit lane up to 13th. That's Tommy Grout's BMW. Martin Reynolds, only fourth in his class. That might have written him out of taking the Blue Oval Saloon Championship this year. The reigning champion. It's Andy Wilson who takes the win. He's already sewn up Class A in the Thunder Saloons. It's 5 points clear of James Janicki, who is not here this weekend. Wilson the winner ahead of Simon Light by 2.5 seconds, with Kirk Armitage in third. They all win their classes. Sam Wilson fourth in the Aston Martin. Good run through the field by him and by Neil Philpotts in the Mitsubishi to take fifth and win his class. Malcolm Harding, the Blue Oval Saloons winner, ahead of Ashley Shelswell. Then we've got Ian Craig, Abby Eaton, AJ Owen with a crucial class win. Mike Manning next, finishing in a photo finish with Nick Vaughan's Audi. Then James Everard, Tommy Grout, Martin Reynolds completing the top 15. Reynolds, I think that might spell the end of his chances of a championship there. Behind them, Ian Bauer, Clint Chalmers, Tom Abbott, James Dunkley with a class win. Abbott a class winner too. Behind them, Will Hunt, Craig Owen, Michael Rudge, Vic Hope, Harvey, whichever of the Harveys it was in the Escort, and Paul Hand after his pit stop. We lost Simon Collier, Neil Hargrave, Howard Spooner into the pit, so Paul Hand stopped again on the slowdown lap there in the Audi. And of course, we lost Jefferson's BMW. The number 2 Fiesta of Sam Daffin retired on the pit straight, and sadly Rob Salisbury and Chris Brown didn't take the restart. There is James Thompson, aka Rob Salisbury. That chassis was raced by Paula Cook in period in BTCC at the end of the 90s. And I don't think he's going to repair that, sadly, for the last race of the day for the Super Touring cars. But it's Andy Wilson who takes the win. We can now hand down to Ewan Dunlop in Parc Fermé, who's down there with our Classic Thunder and Blue Oval Saloons.
Right, let's have a quick chat with Andrew Wilson, our race winner here. Oh, and he's already got his champagne. Just getting his wreath and his cap on here. Congratulations, a winner's hat, a wreath, a bit of silverware, champagne. After the restart, obviously you kept your nose clean in the first start. Second one, one of the cars just got clipped and went straight to the side of the wall. So 2 were out, unfortunately, but all health and all safe and fine. On the restart, you got a jump and nobody was ever going to see you again, were they?
Not really, no.
Be honest.
No, Jason wasn't, when he had his mishap this morning, I knew there weren't going to be much competition, so I didn't push that hard, but I pushed just enough to win. So, yeah.
But overall win class championship, good season.
I think I've got the class.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah,
But we've had too much unreliability this year.
Yeah.
We've had three or four races where she just weren't playing the game. So yeah, not been the best of years. But hopefully next year.
Again, do you change anything in the off-season? I know we've got one more race to
Yeah,
come.
there's loads to come. Loads. New engine, new cooling, new diff.
We're seeing this car again next year, yeah?
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it.
Because we do love seeing it. It's an absolute beast of a car. So well done, great race. See you again tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
393, Pre-03 and Super Tourers. They're on their way round for the rolling start, so we'll give you the grid for our final race of the day. The awesome Super Touring cars led by Jason Hughes in the Vauxhall Vectra, alongside Scotsman Stuart White in an ex-Tom Christensen Honda Accord. The second row, number 8 Richard Wheeler in the ex-David Leslie Nissan Primera, and 79 Mark Jones in an ex-Jason Plato Renault Laguna. Looks like the Primera's not there, unfortunately. Tony Absalom's there, number 67 in the Mint Motorsport Vauxhall Cavalier. Rob Salisbury won't be starting. We saw his accident earlier on in the Classic Thunder Saloons with the Honda Accord, unfortunately. Jim Pocklington's there, number 50, in one of the very first Super Tourers to be built, the Cavalier. And we don't have Anthony Reid, unfortunately, the other Primera. So the Primeras are missing. Then we've got a mixed grid of Pre-93 and 03 touring cars, led by Gary Preble. Welcome back to the reigning Pre-03 champion, his Honda Civic, alongside James Everard in the number 4 BMW M3. Two more BMWs, 51 Mike Dugdale and number 90 Ian Bauer are next. Then we've got Ross Craig in his Honda Civic for the Pre-03s, number 169, 33 Andy Cripps, champion-elect in the Pre-93s in his BMW. Ken Lark, number 21, good to have him here with his famous VW Corrado, and 96 Matthew Howarth with a Vauxhall Astra. Behind them, 45 Rob Crizell, BMW, got his first ever win last time out at Snetterton, and 116 James Alford in his Honda Civic. 137 Cavan Granger, the points leader in the Pre-03s in his BMW, alongside 214 Andy Abrams in his Honda Civic. Another Honda for Vic Hope, Simon Mann's BMW number 153, Chris Southcott 211, 13 Andrew Smith, 188 Alan Hersey, 114 Steve Barber, and hopefully Dave Griffin's BMW at the back. We just about got through the grid in time there, because it's time to go racing in the twilight at Donington. 5 Super Touring cars on the front of the grid. What a sight, and away they go. Jason Hughes, ex-BTCC driver, in his Vauxhall Vectra leads. I spy a Nissan Primera in the pit lane. That must be Richard Wheeler in the ex-David Leslie car. Meanwhile, the Pre-03s and Pre-93s from a separate grid behind the Super Tourers head together into that first corner. Back of the field there is Alan Hersey with his BMW Compact, but it is Jason Hughes in the 888 Racing built Vauxhall Vectra that leads the way ahead of the ex-Tom Christensen Honda Accord of Stuart White, the Scotsman, in second place. James Everard leads the second pack. They'll be trying to mix it with these Super Tourers. There's some Super Tourer lookalikes in this field as well. Make a unique sight, don't they, in the twilight here at Donington, as Hughes, the former Classic Thunder champion, runs wide. Car liveried as a Jason Plato Vectra. And behind him is the number 77 of Stuart White. That was actually the car that won the very last BTCC Super Touring race at Silverstone in the year 2000 in the hands of the Dane Tom Christensen, now a multiple Le Mans winner, of course. So that car has its place in Super Touring history. Stuart White's in second place. We'll try and give you a bit more history on the cars as the race goes on. It's wonderful to see the Renault Laguna out there of Mark Jones, as well as White tries to make a move for the lead as they go into the Melbourne Loop. These two have gone clear of Jones in the ex-Jason Plato Renault Laguna from the 1990. Whoops, Tony Absalom has lost it. Spins out in the Mint Motorsport Cavalier, the ex-Richard Kay and Jamie Wall car. Tim Sugden raced that car in period briefly as well. Tony Absalom, regular racer in the Classic VW Cup with a modified Golf, spins out there at the Melbourne Loop. Probably cold tyres, the cause there. Jason Hughes puts his headlights on the Vectra. See that again there, Tony Absalom, yeah, just locking up, braking too late, I think, for the Melbourne Hairpin. A combination of late braking and cold tyres, and Absalom in the lovely green and white Cavalier spins around. The Pre-93s and 03s, meanwhile, have caught Jim Pocklington, we see there in one of the oldest Super Tourers in existence, that Cavalier, dating back to 1989. It was one of the very first Super Tourers to be built. Chris Hodgetts was the first man to race it in period. And now he's under fire from Gary Preble, Jim Pocklington, the reigning Pre-03 champion, who's missed the majority of this season, blew his engine up in the Honda Civic earlier this season, so not able to defend his title. But he's having a go at the Super Tourer, saying, I want to play at the front of the field as well. Mike Dugdale behind him is leading the Pre-93s in the number 51 BMW. See there Ken Lark going through in the VW Corrado as well, had a win with that at Silverstone a few weeks ago. Last weekend in fact, my apologies. Stuart White all over the back of Jason Hughes. He's surely going to take the lead here, down the inside into the... No, he's not. Jason Hughes slams the door. Mike Dugdale has a go at Jim Pocklington there. Now that car has a very checkered history, the car of Jim Pocklington. Originally built as a rear-wheel drive Cavalier and raced by Chris Hodgetts. Then Jeff Allen and John Cleland raced it in 1991 as Dugdale gets through there. It's these two battling it out. Vauxhall against Honda for the lead. Mark Jones still third. James Everard in the E30 M3, the ex-Jack Stanford car, is up to fourth. Very beautiful car that is. We saw it take a win in the Pre-93 Championship at Snetterton last time out, as White has a look coming out of Coppice. It is pretty dark out there by now. Well, the last ever Super Touring race in the UK in the British Touring Car Championship was a night race, and it was won by the car that's just taken the lead in the hands of Tom Christensen, now driven by Stuart White. Way ahead of the rest, 20 seconds up the road. Ian Bauer coming under fire from Chris Southcott in that Honda Civic. That's got a high ride height on that car. Seems to be working for him though. Second of the Pre-03s. Third of them is Ken Lark in the Corrado. Jim Pocklington runs wide. Chris Hodgetts, Jeff Allen, John Cleland have all raced that car in period. Ian Ashley as well in 1993, the ex-Formula 1 driver. There's Ken Lark. What a glimpse of the Corrado there. He's raced in 24-hour races in the past, so he should be going well in these twilight conditions. Leaders together. Jason Hughes going to make a move on this last corner to try and snatch the win from Stuart White. Man from Alloa in Scotland. There's James Everard in the Pre-93 leading BMW. Out of the final corner, Hughes up the inside, he's got him! He's got him, the leader Stuart White delayed by back markers, and Jason Hughes snatches the win. Oh, fantastic from Jason Hughes, he timed that perfectly. And he snatches the win from Stuart White by 0.6 of a second. White must have been delayed by those two back markers. He met them in the worst possible place going into Goddard's. And it's a victory for Jason Hughes in the Super Tourers. Mark Jones, I think, will take third. The Pre-93s are going to be won by James Everard and the Pre-03s by Gary Preble. There's Tony Absalom over the line in the 67 car. Mark Jones comes in to complete the podium in the ex-Jason Plato Renault. Andy Abrams has clearly been eating carrots, finishing the race with no headlights there. James Everard wins the Pre-93s and the Pre-03s dominated by Gary Preble. He is back with a vengeance. And in sixth place, we hardly saw him all race, just saw him in the background there. Richard Wheeler started from the pit lane. He's come through for sixth in the ex-David Leslie Nissan Primera. Chris Southcott's Honda Civic is seventh. Mike Dugdale will take a class win. That'll close him up on Andy Cripps in Class B of the Pre-93, so he's still in with a chance. Finishing in the twilight here at Donington. What an extraordinary race. Won by Jason Hughes with a last bend lunge on Stuart White to take the Super Touring victory by 0.6 of a second, and Mark Jones completing the podium. Fourth place goes to James Everard, he wins the Pre-93 touring cars. And fifth goes to Gary Preble, he wins the Pre-03s. Sixth goes to Richard Wheeler, having started from the pit lane in the Nissan Primera. Chris Southcott is seventh. Eighth goes to Mike Dugdale, he wins his class. Jim Pocklington in the Cavalier is ninth. Ian Bauer 10th. Class win for Ken Lark in the Corrado in 11th. 12th the class win for Ross Craig. He's not out of the picture in Class C of the Pre-03s yet. 13th for Rob Crizzell, the last man on the lead lap. Matthew Howarth and James Alford, 14th and 15th. And the other finishers 16th went to Tony Absalom, despite that early spin in the Cavalier. 17th went to Cavan Granger, second in his class, so keeping his hopes of the pre-03 championship alive. 18th for Andy Abrams, 19th Simon Mann, Vic Holmes 20th. 21st went to Andy Smith, the oldest man in the race in his number 13 Honda Civic, now in his 80s Andrew Smith and still going strong. And Alan Hersey in his BMW, the final finisher, the only retirement, could be a crucial one, Andy Cripps.
But first of all, Jason, what happened on that final corner?
Well, I think looking from what I could see, there was 2 or 3 cars on the right. Stewart went in, but I think they went wide, which made him go wide, and then he's like, "Oh, I've gone too far here." So I'm like, "Whoa, I'm up the inside and away." So, yeah, I'll have that one.
Got to take advantage, haven't you? It's racing driving. How much of a joy was that? It's darker than it looks on camera, I know that, but with the headlights on, how much fun is it?
can't see a thing. Hard work. But it is what it is, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Coming back tomorrow, any changes? Just going to enjoy yourself?
No, I'll just keep it as it is, I think.
Maybe put some wets on?
It'll definitely be wet, I think, won't it? Definitely be wet.
Indeed we do, yes. Thanks, Ewan. Have a look at the grid for the first classic touring car race of the day. It's the Jaguars off from the front half of this grid, and it is the champion Tom Robinson, number 4, who has qualified on pole alongside number 99, James Ram. 114 Jack Robinson, brother of Tom, his best ever qualifying effort in 3rd on the grid, alongside number 11, Michael Holtz. Then on row 3, 58 Tom Lenthal starts alongside Colin Philpott, the former champion in number 67. Another former champion, Chris Boone, good to see him back out in the XK8 on row 4 alongside 62 Tim Morant, who has, I think, wrapped up the Class A championship for the more road standard cars. Welcome back Mike Seaborn, looking for the Class B championship this year, the outgoing champion. Thought his season had finished, but he's there on row 5 in his XJS alongside the 77 of James Wall. Row 6, 156 Andrew Harper in the diesel-powered XJ, starting alongside number 32 Nick Strong. Row 7, David Ringham, 45, and Stephen Dowell, car number 69 in his XKR. Row 8, 63 Andy Maynard and 88 Damien Gray. The 9th row, 40 Dean Sewell and number 17 David Howard. Welcome back to the Berkshire man, not in his usual XJ12 either, he's in an XJS. The final 2 Jags are Rick Walker in the 54 and 92 Michael Atkinson. Then there's a gap, and we've got the pre-83 touring cars. 117 Will Davison, first qualifier in his E30 BMW alongside 81 Mark Chullerton's Mark II Escort. Behind them we've got 49 of Mark Osborne, it is, in the Triumph Dolomite alongside the champion number 1 Stephen Crimet's Escort. 16 Malcolm Jeffs, he is in a VW Golf Mark 1 GTI alongside number 47 Tom Harvey. He'll be doing both races today, normally shares the car with his father, but it's Tom that we're told in for both races in the Escorts, number 47. 197, another Escort, that's Graham Smith alongside number 12 David Thomas in a Capri Mark 1. 14 Carl Shreve in a Triumph Dolomite starts alongside number 84 David Claxton, similar machine on row 16 grid. 51 Josh Smith in his BMW E30 will drive in race 1. Jason Andrews takes over that car for race 2. Starting alongside number 6 Anton Martin with his Mark III Escort. And we've got 641 Peter Millington in his Hillman Avenger alongside 188, which is Mike Broadway in his BMW 2002. And the final car on the grid should be Colin Claxton in car number 86 with another Triumph Dolomite, but I'm not sure if Colin's out there. We are ready to go then on board with Anton Martin. The race gets underway. The Jaguars away first, and the 58 of Tom Lenthal barely getting away. A terrible start by Tom Robinson rather in his XR. He's been swallowed up into the pack. Looks like it's James Ram who's going to take the lead into the first corner. Michael Holt up into second, but Ram's going to go out wide onto the curb. Oh, they're going all over the place. Michael Holt spun it. Into the gravel goes Tim Morant. Jack Robinson, I think, has clipped Michael Holt. There's a traffic jam at the back. Mike Seaborn has come to a halt. It's just impossible to get the power of the big Jags down in these wet conditions. Tim Morant going over the gravel, but he hasn't bogged down. He's trying to keep going, and James Ram has held his lead in the number 99. I think Tom Robinson's been able to recover there. Yes, he's in second. Colin Philpott in third. Jack Robinson recovering into 5th place. David Ringham got a phenomenal start there. He's up into 4th. Now, what about the touring cars? We'll see them get underway, the second pack. There's so much going on there in the Jaguars. There are the touring cars. It's been a poor start for Will Davison as well in the BMW. Mark Chollerton has gone to the front, and it's Escorts 1, 2 and 3. Stephen Primet second, and it's Tom Harvey in the half-speed Escort up into 3rd place. There's Josh Smith in his mottled liveried BMW. He's got ahead of Mark Osborne's Triumph Dolomite, the former champion. The Jaguars just tiptoeing their way around. Michael Holt's recovered from that spin. Gets ahead of the auto reserve parts car of the Derbyshire driver Andrew Harper. But it's the 2 front row men have managed to recover from that poor start. James Ram it is who leads, something of a Donington specialist. He's won many times here over the years, and Tom Robinson has recovered into 2nd. Into the Fogarty S's they go. Here's the touring car pack further back. There's David Claxton in his Triumph Dolomite chasing David Thomas's Capri. Anton Martin is there. There's Tim Morant recovering from his trip into the gravel. Down into the right-hander at the Melbourne hairpin. 2 leaders in the clear. Colin Philpotts holding 3rd ahead of Jack Robinson. There's a bit of damage on the front of Tom Robinson, so he's had some contacts in that first corner melee as well. Jack Robinson going well in 4th. You can see just wheel spin endlessly there as he came out of the hairpin. David Ringham is down to 5th. Now David Ringham is in a Class A car. The road standard cars. There's the battle for 3rd heading through Goddard's. And here come the leaders, and Tom Robinson trying to get the power down. Look at the car twitching around there as he tries to get the power down on the wet surface. It is so slippery, so scary out there for these drivers, no doubt. And then into the standing water at Redgate. That's one of the wettest parts of the circuit now. Ram leads from Robinson, and they're 5 seconds clear of Colin Philpott and Jack Robinson fighting it out as best they can for 3rd. We saw them in a deluge at Snetterton. I think it was last season we saw one race that only lasted a couple of laps, and Jack Robinson going round the outside. That's brave at the old hairpin. He's through. There's a bit of damage on his car as well, so the Robinson brothers are sporting matching dents on their cars. Damien Gray is off. That's at the top of the craners in the Formula 1 liveried XJ40. Robinson sideways, a replay of the first corner. Ram almost goes straight on. Holt cuts back in. That's how the Robinson brothers got damage. First, Michael Holt was hit by Jack Robinson, and then they hit each other. Tim Morant opts for the safer route through the gravel to miss everybody. Mike Seaborn had his day ruined as he pulled up to avoid Michael Holt's. There's our pre-83 touring car lead, and Tom Robinson, you'd think he was in a drifting competition, wouldn't you? He's so sideways on every corner in that Jaguar. Stephen Primet's twitching about as well. The 10 times champion now in the pre-83 touring cars in the Mark 1 Escort, and he's closing up on David Ringham, who had that great start in the Class A Jag. He's up there among the more powerful cars, but he has to give best to Primet there. James Ram's been racing this XJS for many years. Runs Comsec Investigations based in Essex, but here comes Colin Philpott. I said he'd move up to challenge. Revelling in these conditions. Can he take his first overall win of the season? He's up to 2nd. He's got ahead of Robinson. He nearly didn't get the car stopped for the Fogarty S's there. I thought he was going to plough straight on into the cones. Now, has he held that 2nd place? We're on board with him. Sorry, this is Anton Martin, I apologise, we're on board with. This is Colin Philpott. Well, we can't really tell if he's held 2nd place. Got the inside line for the Melbourne hairpin. Can he get the car stopped? Only just. Side by side with Robinson. 5 minutes of the race still to go. The XJS moving up to challenge. The red and yellow striped flag is the slippery surface flag. I think that goes without saying in this race. Unless somebody has dropped some additional oil, and well, as I say that, out goes Ram. I was about to say, has anybody dropped any oil at Goddard's? They must have done, because James Ram goes spinning out at the final corner. Michael Holt's gone straight on as well, and Colin Philpott leads. Philpott leads from the Robinsons. So James Ram, there must be some oil down there at Goddard's corner, in addition to the wet surface, because James Ram went in, he just didn't turn at all, and round he went onto the grass. Tom Robinson has spent the whole race sideways. Here comes Primet, passing Jack Robinson, and that's 4th overall. Remember, the touring car started with a 10-second delay. Tom Harvey is 2nd touring car, 3rd is Mark Chollerton, then David Thomas, and further back is Josh Smith's BMW. So I think the checkered flag is about to go out into the Goddard's corner for the final time. Colin Philpott in the 67. Or are they going to do an extra lap? No, the checkered flag is there. And it is a win for Colin Philpott. First overall win of the season. Tom Robinson second and wins Class D. And well done, Michael Holt, recovering after a spin on the first corner for third. And the Pre-83 Touring Cars winner coming through for fourth place overall. Great drive by Stephen Primet. A win for Colin Philpott by 1.6 seconds ahead of Tom Robinson, winning classes C and D of the Jags respectively. Michael Holt recovering for third. Stephen Primet, the winning touring car, in fourth place. Jack Robinson fifth ahead of Tom Harvey. What a cracking drive by him. He wins Class D of the Pre-83 touring cars. David Thomas wins Class B in seventh. So all our class winners in those leading places there. James Ram, after that spin at Goddard's, recovers for eighth. Ninth for David Ringham, he wins Class A of the Jags. Josh Smith's BMW 10th, and Andrew Maynard beats Andrew Harper to win Class B of the Jags. That could have a bearing on the championship results. In 11th and 12th overall. Chris Boone 13th ahead of Will Davison and Rick Walker. Then next home after them we had James Wall in his Jaguar XJS, then Mark Osborne, Anton Martin, Malcolm Jeffs, Nick Strong, Dean Sewell, Stephen Dowell, Tim Morantz and Carl Shreve. We lost Mark Chollerton, we saw in his Escort late on. Not sure if Damien Gray made it home either in the XJ40. And Mike Broadway finishing a lap down. We lost Tom Lenthal into the pits. We also lost Graham Smith in his Escorts. David Claxton's Triumph Dolomite Sprints. Mike Seaborn we saw pull into the pits. Michael Atkinson didn't take the starts. And just looking to see if anybody else didn't make it away either. We didn't have David Howard on the grid or Colin Claxton there, so a couple of non-starters. What a crazy race that was. And we'll hopefully hear from a few of the drivers shortly with Ewan. Find out some of the thoughts from our drivers in that one.
It's another one of these round your neck. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Talk to us about the conditions, how you came through the field there.
Quite horrible. There was a lot of oil down. There was oil down through like Redgate, down the Craners, Old Hairpin, up Swants, or just whatever you did, she was just tiptoeing sideways, just drifting the whole way down Craners. It was horrible.
One more race to come. Do you make any changes or just cross your fingers again?
Oh, drive slower, I think.
Colin, come on in. First win of the season, how does that feel?
Yeah, it was good, especially in them conditions. Yeah, it was very slippery. I don't know if you could see, there was a lot of oil.
We could see.
And I just had to drive off the line, just drove off that oil. I was cutting across it, just being really careful. And I found some grip, I found the place where the grip was. And
it seemed to be in the second half of the race when there was maybe a slightly drier racing line, although it was not by any means dry, that then you tried to sort of find your way and make your way through the field.
Yeah, once I realised I was catching them up, I was pulling them in a little bit in certain places. And I don't know, it just come to me. I thought, well, there's my moves. I know where I've got to do it. And yeah, sure enough, it worked. Yeah.
And one more race today. Not going to make any changes, I'm sure.
No, leave it alone. I'm not normally good in the wet, I have good days in the wet, but most of the time this car's just a little bit too quick and powerful for the wet conditions. But today, yeah, I'm well happy with that.
Okay, thanks Ewan. Yes, we're getting ready for our oldest cars of the weekend. This is the Classic Touring Car Racing Club Pre-66 Touring Cars. What a race they had yesterday in the dry. The Mini of Scotsman Barry Syme and Gary Townsend in his Lotus Cortina had a superb battle. They were swapping places constantly for the 8 laps. Syme winning by 0.6 of a second. And a superb race it was, to say the least, with James Ibbotson, the pole sitter, in his Hillman Imp taking third. Now the grid based on the results of yesterday's race, so we'll give you the grid now. The Pultec Classic Race Engines Pre-66 Touring Cars. And the second race will see Barry Symes Mini on pole alongside Gary Townsend's Lotus Cortina. The second row, James Ibbotson, the reigning champion in his Hillman Imp, and Ben Truslove, number 24, in his Lotus Cortina. Row 3, James Burrows in a Mini, and Robin Slater in his Lotus Cortina, the red Cortina, number 73. Row 4, Michael Loveland in a Hillman Imp, and 118 Nathan Beresford in a BMW 1800. The fifth row, number 6, Michael Foley, Lotus Cortina, and Luke Wilson in his Austin A40, number 69. Now, a decent result in his class here, Class D, will give Luke Wilson the championship. Row 6, we've got Paul Cooper in his Cortina GT, number 8, and number 68, Keith Wright in a Morris Minor. On the 7th row, Simon Knight in a Hillman Imp, and number 83, Tim Dodwell in his Mini, although I'm not sure Tim is there. He normally only races on Saturdays. Due to other commitments on Sundays, so wait to see if Tim is on the grid. Then we've got the cars that didn't finish yesterday's race. Billy Keneally, number 52, racing the ex-Robin Slater Ford Anglia, and 47 Nigel Cox's Lotus Cortina. That car was involved in a collision with the Jaguar Mark 1 in yesterday's race at the Melbourne Hairpin. 56 Michael Sheraton's Anglia alongside Piers Grange. Hopefully the big Ford Mustang is there today. Behind them, 163 Jake Swan, who failed to start yesterday's race with problems with the Anglia. The treble one is the Jaguar Mark 1. That's now handled by Simon Lewis, not Guy Connew. Two drivers sharing that car this weekend. And Steve Evans in his Austin A40 starts from the back. It's Brian Bedford who raced that car yesterday. Okay, here we go then. 15 minutes of racing to come. The Pultec Classic Race Engines Pre-66 touring cars. The red lights are on. And away they go. Watch for that imp through the middle of James Ibbotson. He's got a perfect start and he's into the lead already as they head down towards Redgate. And look at Michael Loveland coming up as well. Those imps, the rear engine machines, could they be first and second here? I don't think so. Gary Townsend's got away into second place. Poor start for Barry Syme. I noted one car, that's Michael Sheraton starting from the pit lane. But Michael Loveland, a super getaway in his imp as well. And James Ibbotson, here he goes. Oh, we've got a Cortina. That's Ben Truslove sideways. Nathan Beresford sliding about as well. Oh, it's so treacherous there at the top of the course. But look at Ibbotson. Rally style, sideways, down the Craner curves. He loves conditions like this. And I suspect we're going to see him clear off. But Barry Syme is up into second in the Mini. He'll be giving him other ideas here. Third place is Gary Townsend. Michael Loveland up into fourth place. Then it's James Burrows with the turquoise liveried Mini, and Ben Truslove's Lotus Cortina. Is that Jake Swan up there already? He started from the back of the grid. He's up to seventh. What a start by Jake Swan. They're tiptoeing their way through the old hairpin. There's Simon Knight in his Hillman Imp. He's got ahead of Piers Grange. Piers Grange just won't get the power down in that Mustang. He'll just be hoping to finish and win the Class A championship. Ibbotson from Syme. Townsend in third. There's Michael Loveland in his Imp, then Burrows, Truslove, Jake Swan. What a start by the Anglia, and the Jaguar up there as well. Simon Lewis, the XJ6 racer, in the Jaguar Challenge. Piers Grange is in traffic there. He's got two Cortinas and an Imp ahead of him. Paul Cooper, one of the Cortinas. That's the Cortina GT, not the Lotus version. He's in Class C, which is led by Barry Syme. James Ibbotson already clearing off in front, and Michael Sheraton loving the Formula One overalls there, but they haven't helped him. He hasn't got away from the pit lane. Waiting for them to come over the top, then down towards the Melbourne hairpin. Now, how far ahead is James Ibbotson going to be at the end of this lap? There's the Imp. Barry Syme giving chase. It's going to be England v Scotland for the lead here. James Ibbotson from Milton Keynes, Barry Syme from near Glasgow. Gary Townsend from Rugby in Warwickshire up there in third place, runs a vehicle hire company. James Burrows has got the Mini through into fourth place. He's had a fairly luckless season with that Mini. He's got ahead of Michael Loveland. It's a very mixed up order thanks to the conditions here. A great leveller they're proving. Ben Truslove is the second of the Lotus Cortinas in sixth place. Through Goddard's for the first time. And they're not taking any risks, any liberties at all. Just taking it as easy as they can, learning where the grip is and increased speed. Well, there probably isn't any grip on a surface like this, but conditions are improving slightly from the heavy rain we saw first thing this morning. Nathan Beresford's BMW is 9th, then Piers Grange, and this is the battle for 11th, headed up by another Imp. This is Simon Knight in number 515, the man from Cheshire. Luke Wilson trying to take Michael Foley, but Wilson's doing what he needs to do. He goes past the Cortina, leading his class, and he's heading for his second championship in that little A40. It was back in 1960 that an A40 took the British Saloon Car Championship title. Doc Shepherd was the driver on that occasion. That car still exists, it's currently being restored. That was a more modified A40, a special saloon type of car though. Paul Cooper now takes Michael Foley. It can make it even more slippery. Not that James Ibbotson, now he's showboating, look at this. Oh, that's beautiful. If marks for style in motor racing were awarded, James Ibbotson would be champion every time. Here he comes into the old hairpin. There he goes again. That is magnificent. It's car control. Up there with a World Rally Championship driver, I would say. The way you can hold the car in that slide. Apologies if we've confused that, as James Burrows, meanwhile, makes a move at Coppice to try and take third from Gary Townsend, but the Cortina should get its foot down, get the power down on the straights. Is the Mini going to get ahead in the Fogarty S's? He's on the outside for the first elements. Jaguars closing on them as well. Less than 2 minutes of this race to go as Townsend slides the Cortina. He'll go over the curbs there on the inside. So the Mini may well have got through. They're just out of our view there on the exit of the chicane momentarily. See what happens as they head towards us. They're almost leaning on each other. Look at this, down towards the Melbourne hairpin. Ibbotson's already gone across the line to start what I think will be his final lap. And Burrows at the inside. It's two Minis in the top three. 8.3 seconds is now the lead gap. Ibbotson ahead of Syme. Through the right-hander at Melbourne. James Ibbotson, is he going to celebrate his win with a big slide out of Goddard's? I'm sure he will. They come towards Goddard's corner now. Watch for the imp. Here he comes. Is he going to go sideways? Oh, not quite. He plays it safe. But James Ibbotson comes in. There's the slide over the line. And there is the checkered flag. What a great drive by James Ibbotson to take the victory. Barry Syme will come over in second and win Class C and win the Class C championship in the Mini. 11 seconds the gap. Here's the third place fight. Oh, the Jaguars got through before the head of Gary Townsend, but it's James Burrows who will take third in the Mini. Simon Lewis, towards the back of the grid, wins Class A, but in the background there we see Piers Grange in the Mustang. Subject to confirmation, he's going to win the Class A championship with Alan Green all absent. Brilliant drive by Jake Swan from the back of the grid through to 6th place. Michael Loveland's Hillman Imp second in his class, 7th overall. It should be Truslove in the Cortina, home in 8th place, and he will be second in Class F behind Gary Townsend. And here is our champion, behind Simon Knight. Bit of trim hanging off Simon Knight's Hillman Imp there. I think that's a bit of the window trim that's come out. But Luke Wilson, number 69, from Bedford in his Austin A40, is heading for his second title. He's just got 2 corners to negotiate. Behind Simon Knight in the Imp. Coming into the right-hander at the Melbourne Loop, then just up to Goddard's and round the left. There is Wilson for his second class win of the weekend. He's clear of the Austin A40 of Steve Evans. It's going to be the championship as he comes round this final corner. Well, James Ibbotson tried his hardest. He got the glory of an overall win. But the overall Pultec 366 Touring Car Champion for the second time in his career is Luke Wilson in the number 69 Austin A40. He crosses the line to win the class and win the championship. Look at the provisional result then. Ibbotson the winner by 11 seconds in the sideways Super Imp. Barry Syme second and wins Class C ahead of James Burrows. Then Simon Lewis the winner of Class A in the Jaguar in 4th. Gary Townsend wins Class F in 5th place ahead of Jake Swan. Then it's Michael Loveland, Ben Truslove in 8th place. Nathan Beresford wins Class B in 9th and wins the Class B championship. Piers Grange provisionally gets the Class A championship with second in class, 10th overall. 11th place going to Simon Knight's Imp. Luke Wilson wins Class D and takes the overall title. Then Tim Dodwell 13th, The Bedford Evans Austin A40, as I say, I believe it was Steve Evans in the car in that race, and Nigel Cox completing the top 15. The other finisher in that race, Michael Foley and Keith Wright, 16th and 17th. We lost Paul Cooper with some damage after sliding into a barrier at Schwantz Curve, and Billy Keneally and Michael Sheraton didn't take the start.
James, come on in. You look like you were just having an absolute ball out there.
Did you see the plane coming into land as I was coming down the straight towards the GP loop? That was fantastic. That was good to watch. No, that was incredible. I love that. That was so good. Massive thank you to this man here, Shrigley Engineering. Couldn't have done it without him. So
Brilliant. How much of that was I'm sliding? How much of that I'm going to slide on purpose here?
there was no choice. Honestly, it's just an oil slick. So I just sort of went with it, really. You know, just yeah, no, it's fantastic. I could see Barry Syme. I could keep a sensible gap between me and him. So just have as much fun as you can, really.
Class champion, is that what you set out to achieve?
This year we just wanted a race win, an overall race win. We took the championship last year, and this year we wanted an overall race win. We've done that 3 times now, so mission accomplished.
In the IMP next year or something else?
Yeah, I think we'll be back out in the IMP, but if anyone's got something they'd like me to drive, I'm more than happy to.
Okay, getting ready for our next race then, which will be Classic Touring Car Racing Club action, the Burton Power Blue Oval Saloon Series, combined with the Edmondson Electrical Classic Thunder Saloon Series. Now we're waiting to see who's going to come out to see who's going to decide the Classic Thunder Saloon Championship. Points leader, Jason Davies, with his Sierra Cosworth, had problems in qualifying and failed to race yesterday. So we'll wait to see if he comes out and starts from the back in this race, which is decided by the finishing order from yesterday's race. If he doesn't, and AJ Owen wins his class, he will win the Classic Thunder Saloon title. It's tight in the Blue Oval Saloons as well. Malcolm Harding and James Dunkley looking for class wins. If they both win their classes, I think the title will go to Malcolm Harding. Have a look on the points chart in a second. We'll give you the grid first of all. Pole position, the winner of yesterday's race, the big Holden Monaro. That's going to be a handful in the wet today for Andrew Wilson. Alongside him, a great performance yesterday by Simon Light in his 5-litre Ford Capri. Second row, 191, Kirk Armitage in a BMW M3, and Sam Wilson in the big Aston Martin V8 Vantage on row 2. Row 3, Neil Philpotts in his Mitsubishi Sterein. It was a great day for the historic class cars yesterday, wasn't it? And Malcolm Harding, the first of the Blue Oval Saloons. Row 4, 31 Ashley Shelswell in his Mustang engine Sierra. Yes, really. And number 96 Ian Craig's BMW CSL. Row 5, Abby Eaton, yes, the W Series racer in Father Paul's Holden Commodore, alongside AJ Owen, who wins the class here, then he will take the Classic Thunder Saloon title. Row 6, Mike Manning, number 35, the Welshman in Sierra Cosworth, and Nick Vaughan in his turbocharged Audi A3. Row 7, number 4, James Everard in his beautiful BMW E30 M3 alongside the E36 M3 of Tommy Grouts. Row 8, Martin Reynolds, a contender for honours possibly in the Blue Oval Saloons. Number 27 in his Mark II Escort alongside number 90 Ian Bowers BMW. Row 9, 45 Clip LeChalmers BMW and number 62 Tom Abbott in a Sierra Cosworth. The 10th row is number 22 James Dunkley, looking for a class win in the Blue Oval Saloon Series alongside Will Hunt in his Fiesta ST, number 70. Craig Owen, father of AJ, in his Sierra Cosworth, number 9, and 75 Michael Rudge in a Fiesta, and 151 Vic Hope in his Honda Civic, and 69 Paul Hand in his Audi TT. Then we've got the cars that didn't finish the race yesterday. 224 Simon Collier should be there in his Vauxhall Tigra, alongside 53 Neil Hargraves Escort. 711 Howard Spooner's gorgeous BMW Alpina 635, making its debut this weekend, alongside David Jefferson's BMW E36 number 128. Number 2, Sam Daffin will be in a Ford Fiesta. I don't think we'll see Rob Salisbury, sadly, in the Super Touring Honda Accord. That got rather smashed up in a start line shunt yesterday with Chris Brown in the Fiesta number 12, the 2-litre Fiesta XR2. Hopefully he'll be there. Jason Davies, we hope, is there, the title contender in his Ford Sierra. Dave Griffin, the Diet Coke BMW, he had problems in qualifying yesterday. We didn't see him race. Likewise, it should be Adam Brown alongside him in his escorts, the ex-Fiesta racer. And at the back, number 47, well, it'll be one of the Harveys. Whether it's Age Harvey or Tom Harvey, we're not sure. It was Age Harvey in Blue Oval Saloons yesterday. I think he'll be out again in their escort here, the family half-speed escorts. We'll wait and see how many of those cars come out then for this second race. But it's Andy Wilson on pole, Simon Light in his modified Capri alongside him, then Kirk Armitage, Sam Wilson, Neil Philpotts, Malcolm Harding and James Dunkley ready for a showdown. Oh, somebody stopped. It's Abby Eaton. The Holden has stopped on the hairpin. And if she can't get that moved, we may have a delay to the start. So just a pause in proceeding here while Abby Eaton's car was removed at the Melbourne hairpin. And we will try again. Right, this time the race has effectively started. The countdown clock has started running. So this is the start of the race. We're going to do the opening lap behind the safety cars to save a bit of time. Even a bit of sun coming through here at Donington. You wouldn't have believed that with the conditions we had earlier. Still slippery though for the Edmonton Electrical Classic Thunder Saloons and Burton Power Blue Oval Saloon Series. The pack about to be unleashed for 11.5 minutes of racing. Here we go. The Thunder is unleashed down towards Redgate, and it's as predicted. It is Andy Wilson who gets ahead in the big Holden Monaro. Simon Light slots into second in the Capri. Kirk Armitage in the BMW in third place. A bit of a heat haze rising off the wet tarmac now as Simon Light goes for the lead and he goes through in the Capri. 12 litres combined in the under the bonnets of those two cars. The Capri leads the Holden. Like an Aussie touring car battle, isn't it? Ford against Holden. Down towards the right-hander at the old hairpin. The Capri of Simon Light goes through into the lead. Then Mike Manning making up a couple of places in the Sierra RS 500. It's the Capri who leads, though, with a 5-litre V8 under the bonnet. The 7-litre V8 of the Holden in second. AJ Owens on the move. That front-wheel drive Honda will be strong in these wet conditions. Kirk Armitage in the BMW third, Malcolm Harding round the outside. Look at that, of the big Aston Martin. Well, there isn't much room to get round the outside of that car given its size. But Malcolm Harding up into fourth position. He's got to win his class and hope that Sir James Dunkley suffers a poor result further back. Wilson is fifth in the big Aston. Along the exhibition straight towards the Fogarty S's, a lock up there from Andy Wilson. Kirk Armitage could challenge for second place. Mike Manning is flying through the order in the Sierra. He's up into sixth position now in the Steve Soper lookalike. Simon Light in the Capri. Great to have him back out this weekend. And he's leading, I think, for possibly the first time ever in the Classic Thunder Saloons. Kirk Armitage in the BMW going for second. It's Harding, Wilson, Mike Manning. He's the second Blue Oval car. Then Ian Craig, Neil Philpotts twitching about in the Mitsubishi. Then it's AJ Owen. He'll be leading Class C, I think, of the Classic Thunder Saloons, exactly where he needs to be. If he wins the class, he wins the championship. Over the line they go. Lights pulling away in the Capris, over 1.5 seconds clear at the end of that lap. Just under 10 minutes of racing to go. Still wet at Redgate. AJ Owen, yes, he's leading his class. Andy Wilson, is Andy Wilson slowing there? Yes, he is. The Holden's in trouble. Mike Manning gets past Sam Wilson meanwhile, but yes, Wilson's pulling over. What a shame, the huge Holden is out. He's had a fair few teething problems with that machine this season, and he pulls over at the Craner curves. So Andy Wilson breaks down, and the big Holden Monaro out of the race. Meanwhile, back at the Melbourne Loop, Mike Rudge goes off. Fiesta into the gravel. Saw there was a yellow flag in sector 3, that's the reason why. And he is beached in the gravel trap, so there'll be yellow flags, no passing at the Melbourne hairpin. There'll be yellow flags out, I think, at the hairpin with that stranded Ford Fiesta, unless the marshals have managed to get him moved. Mike Manning up the inside, so maybe there's not yellow flags there, I can't see any. Maybe the yellow has been withdrawn. There's Ian Craig in 6th place, there's AJ Owen, he's up to 7th. More importantly, leading his class in the Honda. Nick Vaughan side by side with Philpotts. There is a yellow flag waving there, so because we've got marshals recovering the Fiesta. The yellow flag was on the inside. Was that overtake legit by Mike Manning? That looked like it was under yellow flags to me. Where's Simon Light gone? Light hasn't come through. Let's have a look again and see if we can see. Did he pull into the pits this time through? No. There goes the Capri. Oh, he's gone off at the exit of Goddard. He's just gone straight on and wallop into the tyre wall. So it's now the Yorkshireman, Kirk Armitage, in the BMW, who has got the lead. There's Manning. Here comes Sam Wilson. And if anything, Malcolm Harding's chances of winning the Blue Oval Saloon Series title are starting to slip away. The car that rolled at Silverstone at the start of the season seems to be struggling for grip. There is AJ Owen. He's heading for the title in his almost Matt Neal replica Honda. I think he is still going. He has rejoined. Looking down the order, he's in 11th place. Thankfully not too much damage to the Capri. It's going to be a win for Kirk Armitage. He's clear of Mike Manning in second, who's being monstered by that big Aston Martin. Armitage through Goddard for the final time. Oh, Malcolm Harding spun. There goes the title. James Dunkley will be Blue Oval Saloon Series champion as Kirk Armitage takes the win. The Blue Oval Saloon's win goes to Mike Manning. Sam Wilson in third. A flash of flame from the Sierra as it comes over the line. Ian Craig is fourth. He gets fastest lap of the race. Malcolm Harding, he's gone again. His tyres have gone. The wet weather tyres not working out for Malcolm Harding. No grip left at all. Nick Vaughan comes through in the Audi to take 5th place. Now where is AJ Owen? Here he is. Flashes the lights as he comes across the line to win the Classic Thunder Championship. A dejected Malcolm Harding comes over the line in 9th place behind Neil Philpotts. And now we await the Fiesta of James Dunkley. There's Simon Light. He did get the Capri out of the tyre wall. He finishes 10th. A disappointed Simon Light who could have won that race. Next home, here is the Fiesta. Your Blue Oval Saloon Series champion is James Dunkley, the XMG racer, takes the title. All to be confirmed officially, of course. Oh, Tom Abbott nearly losing it out of the final corner there in the Sierra. Yeah, a few cars starting that race on wets, I think, and the track drying out for them. Paul Hand does get the Audi TT home, that's good to see. There is James Dunkley waving out of the window in celebration. Provisionally your Blue Oval Saloon Series champion. He's missed out narrowly for the last couple of years. And there is the Classic Thunder champion. What a day for AJ Owen. Multiple champion in the pre-03 touring cars in the past. He upgraded the spec of the Honda. With Jason Davies hitting mechanical misfortune in qualifying. A double class win provisionally seals AJ Owen the title. The win goes to Kirk Armitage by 7.5 seconds over Blue Oval Saloon winner Mike Manning. Sam Wilson in third wins his class in the Aston Martin. Then Ian Craig, fastest lap of 1:54.761 en route to fourth. Nick Vaughan in the Audi coming through for fifth. AJ Owen sixth, the class win and provisionally the title as well. Ashley Shelswell seventh. Neil Philpotts a class win in 8th place. Malcolm Harding a couple of spins on the final lap as his tyres went off. Finishes in 9th and 3rd in class. Simon Light's the early leader, coming back for 10th. James Everard 11th, ahead of Neil Argrave, taking a class win in 12th place. 13th for Martin Reynolds, 14th from the back of the grid for Howard Spooner. Congratulations, James Dunkley, Blue Oval Saloon Series champion, with 15th overall. Beyond that, 16th was Simon Collier, ahead of Will Hunt, Tom Abbott, Paul Hand, Clint Neshamas and Vic Hope. Of course, we lost Andy Wilson and Abby and Michael Runch. Well, congratulations then, the Classic Thunder and Blue Oval Saloons. Congratulations provisionally to their champions, James Dunkley and AJ Owen. Hopefully we can hear from them down in Parc Fermé.
Kirk, what a fantastic weekend.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Do you know something? Saturday morning, we were broken down at home. Okay? At 7:15, we left home to get here for qualifying at 10 o'clock. I can't believe we've achieved what we have done in such a sort. Well, because we were ready to stay at home at one part, but no, it just goes to show you're going to keep on going, aren't you? So, yeah, absolutely fantastic race.
How do you celebrate this tonight?
Sleep, because I've got 4 young kids who refuse to go to sleep in the camper, so sleep.
What a way to celebrate, mate. Congratulations, great weekend.
That's grand. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Okay then, it's one of my personal favourite grids of the weekend. Thanks to you. And next up, the Laser Tools Super Touring cars will go off first, and then behind them on the rolling start, a combined grid for the Laser Tools Pre-93 and some 30 haulage Pre-03 touring cars. Super Tourers at the front of the grid. It was a great fight in near darkness at the end of the programme yesterday between Jason Hughes and Stuart White in their Vauxhall Vectra and Honda Accord, so they form up on the front row for this race based on the results of race 1 yesterday. Hughes on pole and the Honda Accord, the ex-Tom Christensen Honda Accord of Stuart White alongside him. Second row will be Mark Jones, number 79, in his Renault Laguna. Alongside him will be number 8 Richard Wheeler, the ex-David Leslie Nissan Primera. Third row, Jim Pocklington, number 50 in his Vauxhall Cavalier, alongside the later Cavalier of Tony Absalom. And Rob Salisbury, I don't think will be there because his Honda Accord had an accident in the Classic Thunder Salute yesterday. We should have seen Anthony Reid out as well, BTCC legend, in his Nissan Primera, but I don't think Anthony's here. We'll wait and see though. Then there's a gap, and we've got the grid of Pre-93 and 03 touring cars. James Everard will head that up in his BMW alongside 191 Gary Preble, Pre-93 and Pre-03 winners yesterday. Chris Southcott's Honda Civic alongside Mike Dugdale's BMW on row 7. Row 8's the number 90 of Ian Bauer and 21 Ken Lark in his VW Corrado. 169 Ross Craig in his Civic alongside 45 Rob Crizel's BMW. Behind them we have number 96 Matthew Howarth in a Vauxhall Astra. 116 James Alford, title contender this year in the Pre-03 touring cars with his Civic. 137 Cavan Granger, who came into this weekend leading the points in the Pre-03 touring cars. We'll wait to see how things play out there. Alongside him 214 Andy Abrams with his Civic. 153 Simon Mann BMW, 151 Vic Hope Civic, and number 13 Andy Smith with his Honda Civic. In his 80s and still going strong, starts alongside Alan Hersey's BMW. Hopefully Andy Cripps will back out. He failed to finish yesterday's race. His BMW, the current points leader in the Pre-93 touring cars. Finally, Steve Barber, 114 with his Civic, who failed to start yesterday's race, should be at the back. Lights go out now and we're away. Good start by Mark Jones up the inside in the Laguna. Side by side with Stuart White in the Honda Accord. 5 Super Tourers lead them off. Look at Jim Pocklington up the inside. He's locked up there. I thought he was going to clip the back of the Renault Laguna there. Side by side, Mike Dugdale will be one of the favourites in the Pre-93s. Ken Lark goes rally crossing in the Corrado, comes back on and slamming the brakes on to miss him there. Rob Crizel in the BMW. Here's the Honda Accord that has got the early lead. Look at Gary Preble in the white Honda Civic up into 4th place. James Everard's into 3rd. Masquerading as a Super Tourer here in his BMW E30 M3, the DTM replica. Simon Mann challenging Cavan Granger. Granger in there with Matthew Howarth in the Vauxhall Astra. He'll want a class win here to secure the Pre-03 title. Pre-03 is going to be won overall, let's face it, by Gary Preble. He's up there with the Super Tourers. Richard Wheeler getting shuffled back in the ex-David Leslie Nissan Primera. Car also raced by Tommy Rustad in Scandinavia in period. Super Touring still had a very big following in Sweden and Norway for many years after the demise of the class in Britain. Here comes James Everard up the inside. Mark Jones dropping back now in the Laguna, back into 4th overall. Tony Absalom in 5th. Big lock up there, big lock up from Jim Pocklington. He's going straight on. Pocklington in the 1991 liveried Vauxhall Cavalier. racing in Thunder Saloons and modified saloons in the hands of Pocklington and Andy Clarkin for many years. There go the leaders, and Gary Preble is going to be leading overall if he plays his cards right here, the former king of Castle Coombe in his Honda Civic. There's Pocklington, who's recovered from going straight on at the chicane. Stuart White leads the way in the ex-Christensen Honda, chased by Gary Preble in the Civic. Leads it through the Melbourne hairpin, chasing Ken Lark. Had a win last weekend at Silverstone in that car in the Classic VW Cup, and Steve Barber's off. The ex-Pre 05 touring car champion in Renault Clio a few years ago. He's put it in the gravel at the old hairpin. Well, he failed to start yesterday's race, and he's out of this one. Spinning down the Melbourne Loop and into the gravel. Great shame for Steve Barber. Luckless weekend for the Yorkshireman in the Lego Star Wars Honda. Clear lead for Stuart White, the man from Alloa in Scotland. A change for second place. James Everard has got the E30 M3 up there into second. Livery used by BMW in the DTM. Richard Wheeler going past Chris Southcott in the Honda Civic there. Over the line goes White, and Gary Preble's got the second place back again there through Goddard's. There's Jones, Wheeler, Southcott, 4th, 5th and 6th. They have to wait for final confirmation here on who's going to be the pre-93 champion if Mike Dugdale beats Andy Cripps in the class. James Everard is leading the pre-93s. He's running in Class C. Is that Gary Preble slowing down? No, not again. He is. Poor Gary Preble has had so many problems with this Honda Civic this season. He's out again. There on the tail of Richard Wheeler. Owns a pair of these Nissan Primeras. Used by David Leslie in the 1999 season, this car, before heading to Scandinavia. Up towards Goddard for the last time. Stuart White, justifying his long trip from Scotland. He was beaten on the last corner by Jason Hughes yesterday. Takes the checkered flag in race 2 at Donington Park to win the Laser Tools Super Tourers. Well clear of his opposition. James Everard, the winner of the pre-93 division in the E30 BMW, in second place. This is a full 18.8 seconds down. And Southcott's got through for an overall podium to win the Pre-03s. Look at that. Great stuff from Chris Southcott. Ahead of Richard Wheeler, Mark Jones, Tony Absalom, and Mike Dugdale wins Class B for the Pre-93s. Is that enough to snatch the title from Andy Cripps? We'll have to do some working out. With Pocklington tackling James Alford into the final corner. There's Ross Craig behind. Damage at Snetterton ruled him out really of a title attack. Side by side across the line, Alford and Pocklington together. Alford, I think, may have just got it there. Have to wait and tell because Pocklington's transponder's playing up. Yes, he got it by 0.05 of a second, I think. Confirm that in a moment. No, Pocklington showing has got it now. Something going on with the transponder system there. There's Ken Lark coming in now. He wins Pre-03 Class A ahead of Cavan Granger. James Alford's won Class C. There's Granger. And one of those two is Pre-03 champion. We're going to have to work out who is. Coming into the weekend, there were 5 points between. So we need to go to the calculators in a moment to work out who our champions are. Stuart White, the winner of the Super Tourers. Everard, the winner of the Pre-93s. Southcott, the winner of the Pre-03s. 3 more Super Tourers home next. Richard Wheeler, Mark Jones and Tony Absalom. Mike Dugdale, a class win, that could prove crucial in 7th overall. 8th for Jim Pocklington, just ahead of James Alford on the line. He wins his class ahead of Ross Craig. Cripps next home ahead of Rob Crizzell. Then Ken Lark beats Cavan Granger in his class. This is all going to have bearings on the championship. And Vic Hope completing the top 15. Behind them were Simon Mann, Matthew Howarth, Alan Hersey and Andy Smith. We lost Gary Preble, as we saw. Steve Barber spun into the gravel, and Andy Abrams also an early retirement. Right, I'm going to get the calculator out and then hand down to Ewan Dunlop in Park Ferming.
Look at this, he's getting mobbed by his fan base here. I'm going to jump in. Can I squeeze in? Is that all right? I'm going to squeeze through. Is that okay? Mate, congratulations again.
Yeah, it was a bit of a lonely race, but...
Once you go out in front, these cars are so powerful, as long as you've got some fresh air, you're away.
Yeah, to be fair, the track was slippy. There was a lot of gravel about and some slippy bits that I had to just wait for the slicks to come in. And they came in about 3 or 4 laps, so by that time I managed to get going.
Perfect weekend?
No, 2 wins would have been better.
But I mean, how'd you celebrate tonight, end of the season?
We've got to drive home to Scotland, so there'll be no celebrating.
When you get home, have a few beers, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll have a few beers, yeah. It's been good. It's been good to be out with the club.
We're going to see you next season. What are you going to be driving?
Yeah, I'll be driving this next season.
Fantastic.
Get it prepped over the winter again and hopefully bring it out for the beginning of the season this time.
Great way to end the season, well
Yeah,
done.
it's good. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Cheers. Right now we're going back to our joint headliners. We've got the Pragas coming up, their second race this weekend. Final race of the year. There will be a grid walk. We're going to try and get down on there for you. So for the moment, back to Dave.
Cars already forming up on the grid then for our second race of the day for the Jaguars and the Pre-83s, the Berkshire Jag Components Jaguar Challenge. Colin Philpott will take pole position by virtue of his win earlier on in impossible conditions. I don't know how Colin could see where he was going. Tom Robinson, number 4, will line up alongside him. Second row, 11 Michael Holtz and 114 Jack Robinson. James Ram will line up on row 3 of the grid alongside David Ringham. Of course, these Jaguars starting at the front. Some of them finish behind touring cars in race 1. But the Jaguars have a separate grid ahead of the touring cars. Row 4, Andrew Maynard alongside Andrew Harper, battling for the Class B win in race 1. Row 5, it's Chris Boone and Rick Walker. 6th row of the grid, James Hall and Nick Strong in their XJSs. Row 7, Dean Sewell. We're told he's not starting, so we won't see the number 40 out there, unfortunately. Stephen Dowell will be there, though, number 69. Row 8, Tim Morant and Damien Gray, the Class A cars. Row 9, Tom Lenthal, who retired from race 1. Mike Seaborn will be a non-starter, a seized engine on his XJS, unfortunately, so he won't be there. Behind them, we'll have Michael Atkinson, hoping to get a race this time, and David Howard, who missed race 1 in the number 17 XJS. I think that might be Tom Butterfield's car he's racing today. He will start from the back of the Jags. Then there's a gap, and we've got the touring cars. Stephen Primet and Tom Harvey in their Escorts lead the field away, ahead of Dave Thomas in the Capri, Will Davison in the BMW, Mark Osborne's Triumph Dolomites, and Anton Martin in the Mark III Escort, Malcolm Jepps in the Golf alongside Carl Shreves Dolomites, Mike Broadway's BMW, Mark Cholerton, a late retirement in his Escort in race 1, Graham Smith's Escort and David Claxton's Dolomite. They failed to finish the first race. Peter Millington hopefully there in his Hillman Avenger, Colin Claxton's Dolomites, and Jason Andrews, who takes over Josh Smith's BMW for the second race of the day. They will start from the rear of the grid. Philpott on pole, Robinson second and 4th, Michael Holtz third on the grid, a great recovery for him earlier on. For the Jaguars, this is Chris Robinson's last race as their coordinator. It's his farewell. The red light is on, and away go the Jaguars. 383s will start after a 10-second delay. Super start by Colin Philpott. The XJS has got the lead as they head down towards Redgate for the first time. Not such a good start for Michael Holt, trying to cover from James Ram. Side by side with Jack Robinson there into the first corner at Redgate. Tom Robinson has that second place. Now, what about the touring cars? They'll be unleashed from further back. The Jaguars head down the hill towards the old hairpin. Try and pick up the touring cars in the background. Here they are. It is Stephen Primet who's got the lead. Not the best of starts for Tom Harvey. He's dropped back about 3 places as David Claxton slides out into the gravel on the first corner. Anton Martin gets out of shape as well. There's Jason Andrews' BMW at the back of the field, and David Claxton has got stuck in the gravel. That could be a safety car. on the edge of the circuit there. Mark Chollerton's made a great start. He failed to finish race 1. He's up to about 4th in the touring cars. It's Philpott who leads the Jags ahead of Robinson. Tom Robinson, that is. We're on board with the race leader, Colin Philpott, that rumbling Powerbell Services XJS through Coppice. See the sun causing some visibility problems this time. We head down the straights. Colin Philpott's just fated not to see where he's going today. He's got Tom Robinson on his bumper as they head into the Fogarty S's for the first time. Still a little bit of bodywork damage from earlier on that collision with his brother's car at the start of race 1. Here they come towards the exit of the chicane. Then it's down towards the Melbourne hairpin. Michael Holt in 3rd place, poised to make a move as well. He wants his maiden win in the championship. 4th is James Ram. He's got ahead of Jack Robinson in the number 114. Then it's Chris Boone going well, the former champion in the Cov Cats XK8s. Repaired after it expired in a cloud of smoke at Snetterton. Another XK8 7th. That is the number 58 car of Tom Lenthal, the car normally campaigned by Derek Pearce. Board with Philpott. Has he lost the lead there? Yes, Tom Robinson has got through into the lead, coming through Goddard's. It is the supercharged XJR6 who leads the way into the second lap. 1:56.124 his lap time. See the wheel arch taped together there on the number 4. The yellow flag out at Redgate, presumably that's because of David Claxton's Triumph off to the left. Yes, the telehandler is there plucking it out of the gravel. Who's taking on the Jags? Stephen Primet again. How quick is that Part 1 Escort? We've got Damien Gray in the 88s. Mark Osborne, arch rival of Stephen Primet for many years, 2nd of the touring cars, and 3rd is Mark Chollerton. Up among the Jags. And we have a red flag, I think. Yes, the Reds are out. Will we see a restart? There is the Dolomite. It's buried up to its axles in the gravel. The number 84 of David Claxton. Waiting for those red lights to come on. Colin Philpott and Tom Robinson on the front row. The red lights are on. They go out very quickly, and here we go. Philpott gets away well, tries to get across on Tom Robinson. Michael Holt could dive down the inside, but Robinson, the power of that supercharged XJR, takes him into the lead as they head into Redgate for the first time. Philpott 2nd, Holt 3rd, James Ram up into 4th ahead of Jack Robinson. Chris Boone is in 6th place. The Jaguars are all round Redgate okay for the first time. We'll wait for the touring cars to charge away on their 10-second delay. It's Tom Robinson who leads down the Craners. Here come the touring cars. Stephen Primet with the lead ahead of Mark Osborne. Davison and Chollerton disputing 3rd place. Great start again by Mark Chollerton. Tom Harvey will join in at the back from the pit lane in the Mark 1 Escorts. Here come the touring cars down the Craners. The white Escort ahead of the black Dolomites. David Thomas in the Capri chasing Carl Shreve in his Dolomite. Further back there's Malcolm Jeffs, the ex-Alfa Romeo racer, in his Golf. Tom Martin in the Escort. Jaguars heading up towards Coppice. There's Chris Boone, 6th place in the XK8s. Tom Robinson is already clearing off. You can hear the whine of the supercharger on his XJR6 as he pulls away from Colin Philpott. We're on board with Colin down the exhibition straight. Is anybody going to come diving up the inside of the XJS as they go into the Fogarty S's? James Ram had a think about it. Michael Holt tucked in behind them. Down they come towards the hairpin. Robinson in the clear. Philpott 2nd. Battle for 3rd, headed up by James Ram in the 99. Jack Robinson on the outside. Michael Holt on the inside. The 2 X300 Series XJSs, one of them an XJR. Battling for 4th place. Oh, we've lost Tim Morant. He's gone into the gravel at the chicane. It looks like he's spun right across the grass. You can see he's demolished a marker board there. Polystyrene everywhere. He's got a long way off. So Tim Morant, he's already secured the Class A title for road standard cars. He's out of this one. Back aboard the touring car of Anton Martin, the Escorts, into the right-hander at the Melbourne Loop. With David Thomas now in the Capri, heading up towards Goddard's, the circuit commentary box on the left. Stephen Primet, but he's not going to have it all his own way this time, because Mark Osborne is giving chase in the Triumph Dolomite Sprint. It's coming up on Michael Atkinson, who failed to get away in the first Jaguar race, retired into the pits. He's got David Howard, I think that is ahead of him. It's either Howard or Nick Strong, the blue XJS there. There's Primet up the inside. It is Nick Strong, the number 32 there. Race the Mark 1 Capri. Stephen Dowell behind him as Primet up the inside muscles his way past Andrew Maynard. Well, there's possibly some power sliding that's gone a bit wrong. Mike Broadway has spun the BMW. He joins behind the more modern BMW of Jason Andrews. 3.5 minutes of this race to go, and Tom Robinson has made it his own. Here's a replay of Mike Broadway's incident there. Oh, no, it's not Mike Broadway's incident. Who does that escort belong to with the door open? Is that Tom Harvey? It is as well. And there's Broadway spinning behind him. So Tom Harvey with problems of his own, the passenger door coming open. Here comes Mark Osborne taking on the Jags in his Dolomites. Excuse me, he says to Andrew Harper, in the silk cuts. 1.56. But anyway, the race is about to come to its conclusion. Tom Robinson for Swallows Racing has totally dominated this season. There's one defeat in his class all year. Only a couple of defeats overall. He's coming in to take the checkered flag, and Stephen Primet is going to emphasise his total dominance of the pre-83 touring cars as well. Flashing the lights, Tom Robinson wins the Jaguars and wins overall. In the Jaguar Saloons Challenge, sponsored by BARC Jag Components. It'll be James Ram home in second in his XJS. The only man to beat Tom Robinson in his class this year. 15.2 seconds, the winning margin. Michael Holt completes the podium, he's had a good day. Colin Philpott, our earlier winner, in fourth. Chris Boone is fifth. Jack Robinson sixth, there he is. Class B is won by Tom Lenthal in seventh. James Wall being hounded to the line by our pre-83 touring car winner and 10-time champion, Stephen Primet. That's David Thomas, but not enough for him to take the title. That goes to Mount Best in his Capri. Get back to those in a moment, because there's your race result. Robinson ahead of Ram by over 15 seconds. Holt wins his class ahead of Philpott. Chris Boone completing the top five ahead of Jack Robinson. Tom Lenthal, Class B winner in seventh, ahead of James Wall. Stephen Primet, the touring car winner, ninth overall in among the Jags, ahead of Mark Osborne. And we've got Rick Walker, Stephen Dowell, Andrew Harper, who I think has taken the Class B title in the Jags. Then Will Davison, Damien Gray completes the top 15. 16th was Andrew Maynard's XJ40, then it was Malcolm Jeffs in the Golf, Nick Strong's XJS, and the 92 of Michael Atkinson. Completing the top 20 was Carl Shreve, then David Thomas and Anton Martin with class wins. David Howard 23rd, 24th for Mike Broadway's BMW. Jason Andrews finished at the back. We lost Tom Harvey into the pits to fix that door. Mark Chollerton was a retirement as well. We also lost David Ringham. Tim Morant went into the gravel. David Claxton, of course, didn't take the restart. We'll head down to Ewan shortly to catch up with our drivers for both championships, hopefully.
Let's go and speak to Tom, who's behind us here. Already champion for the season, but finishing it off in the right way. Great way to end the season, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Ian. Yeah, no, really pleased to finish on a win. It's what I wanted at the end of the day. So. And
you've got a bit of a break now to fix that front left as well?
We have, and we're not actually going to be running this next season, so I've got a different car lined up. So.
What have you got?
We're racing potentially in the Thunders with an X-Type touring car, so something a little bit different. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad to finish.
Doing the night race or the evening race at Brands Hatch in a couple of weeks?
I'm not. That's it now for the year with this one. We're gonna get it repaired and put it away for a little bit and finish on a win.
Put it away? Where'd you put it? What'd you do with it?
Oh well, we'll just put it in the garage. I will get it out, but we're gonna reevaluate a little bit. And I was just glad to finish up with a championship and a win today.
How do you summarise the season as a whole?
As a whole. Oh, it's just been mega. It's been absolutely mega, yeah. It was the kind of the perfect season, really.
Sunsets on another great weekend of racing here on BARC TV. Then thank you to Ewan Dunlop down in the paddock and Park Ferme and the pit lane today, and thank you to everyone here at Donington. A special thanks to our volunteer marshals once again, the medical staff, the recovery crews, everybody else here at Donington Park. Special thanks to our camera crews as well, everyone for braving the heavy rain earlier this morning. But until then, this is commentator Dave Goddard signing off here at Donington Park. Thanks to all of you for watching, and goodbye.